Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Galactic Armory. My name is Aaron. With me here is Jamie.
Hey, folks.
Jamie, you made a miniature version of me.
Yeah, I had to give something to my boss. I had to immortalize him, and in this case, Ironclad.
So this is a 1/6 scale figurine replica of my original concept, ODST. And today we're going to show you how we made it, or how Jamie made it, how he painted it all up, and how you can do one too.
Yeah, at this scale, there's a lot that you can do in a small package, which is the first time everyone said that about Aaron.
So what we've done here is we've started with our own 1/6 scale figurine of just a regular ODST. We released him on the Patreon a few months ago. They're still out there, but we wanted to make him unique. We wanted to make him like my own OC ODST Ironclad. And so what we had to do was we had to bring in some of those life-sized armor accessories and shrink them down to work on this.
Yeah, and a massive benefit of this is that we actually designed all of our figurines using our actual armor files of our full ODST, full real-life kits.
Yeah, so we get a double dip a little bit on the files.
Yeah.
But it also makes sure that these accessories, these weapons, these like shoulder pieces, the neck guards, they all fit together extremely well.
Honestly, as perfect as putting it on in real life, but a lot quicker to make.
So let's get into how that was all done. First thing we have to do is print out the whole statue, right?
Yeah, so this was done using Lychee Slicer, using our Elegoo Saturn and our Elegoo Jupiter. These large-scale 3D printers that use resin allow a lot of crisp detail to get all these larger pieces in such incredible detail that they're ready to go pretty much straight off the printer.
And to get the life-size parts to be able to fit this 1/6 scale statue, all it took was a little bit of math, right?
Yep, it is just simply this being a 1/6 scale statue is you just need 1/6 of 100% scale, which is 16.7-ish percent.
Yep.
So that is 16.7% from 100%. That gets these nice and small, but enough detail to be added directly to your statue.
They're going to be a little bit thinner because since they're scaled for real life, they are, not meant to be super thick. So when you scale them down and print them, you might run into some thickness issues. We didn't run into anything like that here. They printed off beautifully. One thing you did have to modify about this statue was the weapon. So for my character, I use the M45 shotgun. The figurine,
Big guy.
It is a big gun, but the figurine uses the standard ODST SMG.
Yeah.
So you had to kind of replace that in the file, right?
Well, this is based off of the Rookie, the classic character from the game, who, classically is seen with the SMG. Luckily, we produce nearly all of our files as one singular piece. So this just allowed me to take this shotgun in massive,
Life-size scale.
Aaron-size scale, and then reduce that down, again, 16.7%. And then I just sliced where the hand is on the SMG, sliced where the hand is on the shotgun, or the grip on the shotgun, and just put them together.
Yeah. Then you fuse them together and you've got a whole new pose.
That's it. It's done.
Style.
It fit perfectly. It's as though he's resting it against his hip. It just all made sense. This was the same across the board, just all of these little pieces that all go together to make what we saw as Ironclad.
But once you had the statue printed, it was only a matter of putting it together and starting to paint it.
That's right. So we always start with a dry fit. We want to make sure that you put all this time into prepping, painting it, that it actually goes together after hours of work. So we just start off by putting everything together, and then once we're satisfied with that, we'll do a bit of a sub-assembly. That is just putting together some of the main pieces. So that is most of the body, to the legs, the arms to the hands, just to make sure that when you're painting it, it'll all go together pretty well, and you're not having to stop, paint a little thing here, put that down, wait for that to dry, paint the next thing. It'll allow you to speed up and give you a good idea how everything goes together in both, physical and looks.
So you had to do a little bit of cleanup to the pieces, but since it's a resin print, that was very minimal.
Very minimal compared to any of our standard FDM prints. That just required a little bit of Bondo here just to fill any of the little divots, the little holes. A little bit of sanding just to get any of the imperfections of where the print touched the supports. And it was ready to go. As soon as that, this print was cleaned up in an hour. Yeah.
Nice.
Resin printing is cheating.
So we're about ready for painting, right?
Yeah, at this point, we are just needing a nice base coat across the whole thing. Given that there's a lot of grays across this, a lot of darker muted colors, I just started with a flat base coat of Rust-Oleum primer gray. That provided enough of a surface for everything that came after it. And you can just layer this on pretty nicely. Unlike a miniature, this figurine, you don't have to worry about gumming it up with textures using something like Rust-Oleum or a primer that isn't used specifically for miniatures.
Yeah, you can kind of use some of the bigger scale stuff.
That's
here.
right. So once we're there, we just want to make sure that we are maximizing our paint application from the start. What is the most common color across our armor?
I see a lot of like slate grays, a lot of
Yeah.
blacks,
Yeah.
and a little bit of blue.
That's it. So that is pretty much the order that you want to apply everything. You want to make sure that as you go along, you start with a big amount of color and just get less and less as you go along.
Smaller.
Yeah, it's much easier that way. You're going to save yourself time because you don't want to start applying a load of gray over your nice detailed blues because you might mess up, you might go over it, you might, have to clean up. So what we do is just start with this nice slate gray color across the entire figurine, and then we start to work down from there.
So Jamie, I'm curious how you did the helmet visor, because our helmets here have a nice chrome reflection to it, but painting something that small with a chrome effect could be a little challenging, right? I'm curious what you did.
Yeah, especially with an airbrush, which is the usual way that these are applied. Definitely not the method here. We got lucky that we actually on hand had some Molotow.
The liquid chrome.
Yeah, that's it. The refills.
Like those for those chrome pens.
Yeah. So we know that it applies super well just with a brush, and it stays on. So I was able to just brush on a mirror, and it instantly came out so well.
It's so good. Like I'm just looking at it now.
Yeah, and so that instantly made me so confident that this is going to turn out well, because it's one of the most iconic features of an ODST, is that super reflective visor. Like alongside that, that's really the main colors that are on this piece. This is a method called blocking, which is block painting all of your colors and just getting everything vaguely where it needs to. After that, and a lot of paint guides don't tell you this, is spend a little time just cleaning up. It's okay to make mistakes, especially on such a big piece. You don't need to get it right first time. Just stop at every step and just clean up your paintwork. Get the grays, uniformly gray, the blacks, the blues.
I remember that when you were painting the hands, you actually came into my office and were like, "Let me see your hands."
Yeah.
Oh, they're paler than I expected.
He thought I
He
was-
just went right back out of the office.
He thought I was threatening him. Let me see your hands.
Yeah. And he just, oh, paler than I expected.
It made me feel better about
Yeah, I
myself.
was like,
So
look who's talking.
yeah, and that was exactly it. It was being able to just know that I can move on to the next step with everything where it needs to be. All the grays, all the blues, the blacks, where they are. And then can move on to the next step, which is, in this case, all the weathering.
Yeah, weathering really takes it to a whole new level of extreme detail and accuracy, I gotta say. You had taken my kit out of the box
Yeah.
and was just scouring over all the pieces, looking for all the details around it.
And that's the same with even your own OC, your own original character, is look at your references. The method is still there, no matter if it's a physical figurine or a piece of art on a page. You can recreate that quite easily. In this case, add shadow where it needs to go. In this case, I use an airbrush. And if you want to use an airbrush at this level of detail, at this small level, take off the front cap of your airbrush. It basically focuses the atomized paint in a much smaller amount.
It's with the air flow around the needle, right?
He gets it.
Yeah, I don't know, just pretty face.
Not just. And this allows us to get into all of these little corners and recesses to just purposefully add shadow and just create that depth and just tonal variation between all of these flat panels. And it really immediately causes recessed dirt to form. It makes it look like there's wear and tear across the whole thing. And we can just accentuate that as time goes on, building it up using other methods too.
Now I want to talk about this tarmac here. Yeah. Because that was something that I had never seen before, but this came from one of your old wargaming days, right?
Yeah, my Night Lords army, my Horus Heresy army for Warhammer 30k.
Tell us what this is made out of and kind of how you got that effect.
So this is actually just corkboard, that you use to like pin up notes on a wall. You can get that from Amazon really, really cheap, boards and boards of it. And because it's cool and like porous, that it soaks up a load of shading really well. It actually has naturally some high spots and low spots, so you can dry brush it. If you want to create something that looks like slate or stonework or tarmac and things like that, this stuff is perfect. And it perfectly matches the new Mombasa streets.
Yeah, it's a perfect call out. And you got the yellow divider line down the middle. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and all you need to do to create that is just do a little bit of dry brushing, add some recessed, washes of blacks. That'll make the deep parts dark and the top parts light. You already got your middle tone, and it immediately looks so much more realistic.
So let's move on to some of the details of weathering. Now you mentioned the airbrush a little bit, but you also use some black oil paints, right?
Well, that's how we made these, so I wanted to match that as close as possible. So that is just getting really fine with your oil paint application. That is enabling us to actually change the tone of our blues so that the outside more worn parts are actually able to, be a darker shade than the lights. And all it's doing is really staining the material.
Did you have to thin the oil paint at all, or just go straight to it?
Okay. Just a little bit, just to let it apply more evenly. Letting it apply more evenly also allows me to ensure that I'm not just caking on oil paint.
Right.
And so I just add small amounts of it and just wipe it away with a cotton swab.
Yeah, thin it with mineral spirits, not water or alcohol.
Correct, yeah.
If you're using oil paint.
Try it out, you'll know it doesn't work.
You'll find out.
And so that's how we just create this, deep recess, the weathering, and actually accentuates high spots by creating low spots. It's a good technique.
So one of the last things you're going to do for the weathering process is dry brushing, right?
Yeah, that incredibly adds so much depth to it.
Did you steal this one from your wife too? This brush?
Yeah. It's a really good one as well. I saw it, I knew it was
You want
meant to
something
be
really
mine.
soft, right? Like
That's
really
it.
soft bristles?
Yeah, and all that's doing is, again, staining the edges. You don't want to apply it so that it's causing streaks. You just want to cause discoloration, but a lighter discoloration right on those edges. Now, you can do this just to change the tone, or you can do that to add really direct weathering, such as like the metallic wear that you see on the edges of our ODSTs. These were recreated here, that I was just hitting the sharpest edges just to show that something has hit and scraped away that paint. You'll also notice, such as on this area here, that when it comes to the bodysuit, you just dry brush the top of it, and that creates that tonal variation on the fabric, and it makes it look a little bit more fabric-y. Okay. If you dry brush it harder, it just causes almost little striations and streaks rather than, say, a perfect armor piece.
Right. Okay. Very interesting. Now tell me about all the lettering across. So I see a little UNSC on the front, ODST Ironclad on the back of the helmet and the shoulder. This was all done in the silhouette, right?
Yep, that's right. That was done on our Silhouette Cameo 4. As small as I could possibly make it.
Very handy tool. These are cut very cleanly.
Yeah. So like even his little Sergeant's logo here, yeah, it worked a charm. Just you have to be super careful because every single letter is 1 mil thin. Yeah, just apply it super carefully and then hit it with the same weathering techniques you usually would. It often makes it really nice when you just apply a small amount of oil paint, and that just like makes the letters look dirty and worn, and it builds on the edges and makes it look a little bit embossed.
Well, Jamie, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about my favorite part of this whole build. This little combat knife you got on the back here. So originally, the life-sized version of this has a hole through the center for a wooden dowel to provide support. But, pull it out here. When we scaled it down to this size, what did you use for the support rod down the middle?
A sewing needle. A sewing needle ended up being literally perfect. That matched without any editing. Is the careful now. OSHA will have an issue with you.
Don't cut yourself.
Yeah, a sewing needle was absolutely perfect for this. It was all ready to be put into one piece, and given I'm a avid collector of 1/6 figures myself, such as Sideshow and Hot Toys, I needed to have a little bit of accessory along.
Yeah, but like look at the tolerances that we're dealing with, like that.
It's a friction fit.
That is friction fit. And you can pull it in and out and.
So now that all the details are added, you got all the weathering where it needs to go, I think we can finally put everything together. That's the arms, all of our sub-assembly, the head, the backpack, even a little pistol on the hip. And then when all of those are in place, we are ready for all the accessories that turns this ODST into Ironclad.
Yeah, he's got a lot on there. I kind of went extra with it.
But it all goes together so well, so easily, because as we said, all of these accessories were entirely based off of our files, and everything just was a natural fit, just attaching the shoulder pads, the armor plate on the forehead, the gorget.
Yes, that's a word I keep forgetting. Once you got it all put together, there's only one last thing to do, right?
Got to clear coat it. You got to make sure that all the times you're going to be, playing with them, that you don't want to rub away the paint.
Yeah, I got a 9-month-old at home that would love to put this in his mouth, but we don't want that. We don't want any of the paint or the oils to smudge or
That's exactly it. And so you want to immortalize you have to immortalize the paint job by finishing it with, in this case, a nice matte clear coat.
Right. We just wanted to seal it. We didn't want a satin or a gloss, so we just went with a matte coat.
And so with that, we are done. We have immortalized your ODST OC.
I love it. It's like, I was looking at this from across the shop at you and would check in occasionally, like over the course of, like after 5 hours, I would come back and see the progress on it. And I was just so excited about it. It's so good, Jamie. Like,
I'm really pleased. Yeah, I'm proud of this one.
Yeah, I think everyone should make a miniature version of themselves in some kind of, like your favorite cosplay armor or something like that. This is how you do it. Might take some kit bashing of different files or different sources of armor or figurines, but if you get a good base, such as the ODST statue, you can put all sorts of stuff on there, like the shotgun, the trench knife, the forehead, the gorget, shoulder. There's a lot of accessories all around this piece that did not come with the original files.
Yeah. And it goes to show just how versatile these files are. Any 3D file can be scaled to any size to fit whatever your desired project is. And we have plenty of figurines on our website that you can use to make your own OC of any setting that we make.
We've got lots of clones, lots of Halo stuff, and lots of ODSTs, and I want to get some Spartan some Spartan miniatures. That'd be really good.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope it inspired you to make your own little mini-me resin printing. Jamie, did you have a good time with this?
Oh yeah, so much so that I have to make major now. I have to get the squad together.
Assemble the full Misfits crew.
Yeah.
There we go. The full Misfits crew. It looked like this is a super fun project. I'm very jealous that I didn't get to work on it, but it looks so good.
Listen, I did you can do mine. It'll be fun.
I don't think you want that, to be fair, but thank you everybody for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we hope to see you again in the next one.